Hello and welcome to Lightbulb Moments. For those of you who have been following me, you're familiar with this new mini-series. This is a concept that I came up with as a way for me to reach you in a more convenient way. You are watching me perhaps at your home, at your office, maybe even on your iPad or iPhone. The concept behind Lightbulb Moments is kind of what it sounds like, which is to be able to take some moments where I could connect with you, share with you some of my ideas and interventions, and I'm hoping that that'll create within you further ideas, further concepts of what you can use with your children and your child's clients. Again, light bulb. I want to get that light bulb on and get the ideas going, get those juices flowing. So for today, I'm going to talk about a technique that I use all the time with children. Some of you may have heard of it. I'm going to actually present two techniques that are helpful in addressing anxiety. Interestingly enough, I have found that these techniques are also quite helpful in addressing children with anger management issues. I have found if you'll pay attention to yourself and your children, you'll notice that what happens in our minds and our bodies, particularly when we're both anxious and angry, are very similar. Our heart beats faster, our blood flows more quickly, we feel more physically tense. And so the concept and the interventions that I'm going to present today may also be helpful for your child when he or she is feeling angry. Anxiety and anger, normal feelings, feelings that all individuals have, feelings that all humans have, and of course feelings that all children have. If your child is feeling anxious or angry, does not necessarily mean that there is a particular problem, but we want to help them to experience and cope with these feelings in the way that's most beneficial for them. So what you're going to see following is a clip of me with a child practicing these interventions. To let you know, for privacy purposes, I did not use a client. The child that you're going to see offered her time and volunteered to work with me and to show these interventions. She is not a client of mine. The first one that you will see is called bubble breaths. Bubble breaths is something that is so simple. All it requires is a bottle of bubbles. And this is not just merely blowing bubbles, but rather blowing bubbles in a specific way that teaches the skill of deep breathing. As we know, when we're feeling anxious, and like I mentioned, when we're feeling angry too, it has an effect on our body and our breathing, which has an effect on our blood flow. If we can teach our bodies to breathe in a more slow manner with deep breaths, 9 out of 10 times it's going to have an effect on your brain and on your mood. And so what I do is I take out the bubbles with the child and I teach them a game. This game is not just about blowing bubbles, although if all they're doing is blowing bubbles, that's good too. That means they have some alone time. They're just focusing on the bubbles. But the game is to blow big bubbles. And I teach them it's a very special way to blow big bubbles. The way to do it is to get the bubbles on the wand and bring it close to your mouth and very slowly let out a big breath. To let out a big breath, first you need to take in a big breath. So I teach them to take in the big breath through your nose, hold it inside your lungs, and very slowly let it out, very slowly through the wand. You're going to see it in the coming technique. You will see it coming up now. So we're going to play our bubble breath game. What we're going to do is we're going to take deep, big breaths and let out very slowly through our lips, tight like we're whistling. And that's going to help us make big bubbles. So remember, hold the wand close to your mouth and breathe out very slowly. Let's do it together. It's so big. Ready to do one more? Bring it close to your mouth. And like you're whistling very slowly. That was amazing. Did you see how big yours was? That was amazing. Good job. High five. Good job. I've noticed from what you watch is the child and I are using the bubbles and we're also having fun with it. We're making a game with it and we're blowing big bubbles. Now what I really like about this technique is even if you do it wrong, you're still doing it right. Even if you don't get the deep breathing down and blow those big bubbles, either way we're getting the child to breathe. I like having them focusing on the bubble because that makes them not focus on whatever else is making them feel anxious or angry. So we focus on what does it feel like to be blowing those breaths. We're looking at the bubble. Perhaps we're paying attention to the colors, the rainbow colors in the bubble. Maybe there's some quiet time. Maybe we're not even talking while we're blowing these bubbles. We're just sitting and being centered with ourselves, our breath, and what we're noticing about the bubbles. If we're using our senses, I have found using your senses while feeling anxious or angry almost always a surefire way to get your triggers down so that you're not in a reactive state and you're in a more calm state. So that one is bubble breaths. The next intervention that I like to use, I call the color game. So the concept here is similar, in which we are trying to focus the mind not on the trigger that made the child feel anxious or angry, but rather on something else that they could pick up on with their senses. And so the color game is something that we're using our sense of sight for. So I had the child pick any colors you will see in the following clip. And then we look around the room and we say everything in the room that we could see is that color. And you'll even be able to pick up on it a bit in this clip that the child really does feel very calm. They're not thinking about whether it be their test that's making them feel anxious. They're not thinking about the child at school that made them feel angry, or the fact that maybe their sibling ruined a toy of theirs. Instead, what they're focusing on is just the colors in the room. And then after they're in a calmer state, we can go back and problem solve how to deal with whatever is making them to feel anxious or angry. Now, what I also really like about the color game is, first of all, it's simple. All you gotta do is pick a color and you look around the room and you start labeling off all of the colors that you see. And the second thing that I really like about it is that it can be done anywhere. If I have a child who maybe while they're in the classroom at school, they're feeling anxious when they're having a test, or they're feeling really angry during recess time at a child who took the swings while they were playing with it, before they address it, because I don't want them to be too reactive, I want them to be able to address the problem in a way that's going to be most helpful and effective for them. The first thing is they could play the color game in their mind. They could look around and they could see, I'm going to pick the color green, and they're going to count off in their mind all the green things that they see in the room. And now they're not as involved in what made them feel angry or anxious. They're noticing the colors, and then they're able to get back to the task at hand. Now, what I also like about this game is I actually use this game with some of my adults too. I tell them, if you're in a moment where you're feeling really anxious or angry, feeling angry, there's the idea of counting from 10. Feeling anxious, you want to get regrouped into the moment. Often when we're anxious, we're thinking about something that either already happened or is going to happen. It's not something that's in the moment. And so do the color game in your head. It's so simple. It's so easy to do. And I am telling you, I have seen such great effects with it. So following clip. It's really simple. What's really good about it is whatever you're worrying about in your head, it goes out of your head because you're not even thinking about it, because instead you're playing the color game. And I'll show you how it goes, and you're going to see it, and you're going to love it. Okay, now pick any color.
Blue.
Blue, good one. That's a very good color to pick. So what we're going to do now is we're going to go look around the room, and we're going to take turns saying all the different blue things that we see, okay? Would you like to go first? Go ahead.
Blue bubble.
Blue bubbles over there. That's great. I see some blue crayon coloring on the picture over there. Your turn.
I see blue tissue box.
Good one. Blue tissue box. I see a little blue book, part of the blue book over there.
I see the scissors.
Scissors. Good one. And like I mentioned, you see in this clip, she gets really excited doing the color game, and she gets involved in it. And she starts to have a good time and is relaxed. You can visibly see, even me as a therapist, I'm starting to feel more relaxed too playing this game. I certainly hope that this was helpful. I have a lot more techniques that are similar to this. I encourage, as I always say, I encourage you, the viewer, to please reach out to me, Shulamis Meyerfeld. Feel free to contact me via phone, email, website. You can check out my website at shulamischerylmeyerfeld.com. I would love to hear your feedback and any specific questions that you have, any ideas that you would like me to focus on in our next Lightbulb Moments. Have a good day. Bye-bye.